Come on. There we go. Here we are. Everybody, welcome to the Central. I'm Freddie, and I'm happy to have you here tonight. I'm just going to say a quick word about our sponsors. Quadrica CX, of course, Canada's best Bitcoin trading platform. Looks like today's volume was around 320 Bitcoins with a high around 316 Canadian, which is very low. We've had a very sort of troubling week in Bitcoin. The low around 304 per Bitcoin, and our last trade was at 312. Our other sponsor, who is also visiting us tonight, is AIRBITZ, the finance wallet that I'm familiar with right now, and also it's the best looking and it's beautifully functional. So yeah, AIRBITZ wallet, and of course with us today we have the team from AIRBITZ, and that's Paul and Will, and this is MK, and everybody just say hello. Kevin. And yeah, so Paul, this is your company, and you put this together and you architected it. So you want to just give us a rundown of, introduce your team and let us know what your vision is and what's going on down at AIRBITZ. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, for sure. So one point, my name is Paul. I'm the co-founder of AIRBITZ. I co-founded the company for mass adoption through simplicity, all familiarity, and I used Bitcoin a simple amount, and I found it having quite a few pain points that just weren't resolved, and I didn't see any projects working in that direction, especially projects working in that direction while still upholding the true core values of Bitcoin and what it's meant to achieve. So combining those it's been fun, but it's also been a challenge. But I think that's why we do this. We enter great ventures not because they're easy problems to solve, but they're hard problems to solve. And I think the most successful companies solve the hard problems. And so it's been a blast. I think the biggest takeaway I've had, which you don't really hear about too much in the public eye, has been working with the team at AIRBITZ, and the people that have come together to put this project and this company have been my greatest joy. Just working with everyone, and I look forward to even better times ahead working with two of our great new additions in MK and Will.
Oh, there we go. That's super cool. And so who do we have here? We have Will with you. Is that correct?
Yep.
Hey, everybody.
With me right here.
Yeah, and Will, you're brand new, I think, right? And what are you doing with AIRBITZ? What's your role? What's up?
So I came on the team to help with marketing push. So I'm the marketing manager here at AIRBITZ now. Almost a month into the job, and just really, felt like home from day one. I had had my eye on this company for a long time, since Paul and I first met. I think even before, like, the directory was in beta, maybe.
Yeah, it's beta. Directory just barely being out there, and wallet definitely not launched yet at the time.
Yeah. So, and I got to be a beta tester for the wallet when that came out, and just it spoke to me because, like everything you heard Paul just say, I mean, the hard problems in Bitcoin to solve are making it easier to use for people without violating the core principles that, the core vision that we know Satoshi had from the masterpiece white paper that he wrote in 2008. So that's what I've been doing since I started in Bitcoin, is making it easier to use for people, either through education or through engineering. So, and then packaging that message so that people understand that they're getting these really robust security and privacy features that they've never experienced before in finance in their life, and making it also fun and understandable to use. And AIRBITZ, the whole platform, has done that. So yeah, it was a no-brainer. It was always at the top of my list of companies in the space that I would want to work for, and I kind of judged that criteria based on the product, the team, and the vision of the company. And again, like when it comes to product, team, and vision, there's no one's better than AIRBITZ in that regard, in all three regards, I guess, in my opinion. And so yeah, they were at the top of my list of places to work if ever the opportunity arose, and luckily I had my eyes open when it did, and I grabbed it. So I'm thrilled to be here, and it feels like home already. So yeah, looking forward to what we're building here.
Right, and Will, you came from New York or somewhere on the Eastern Seaboard, right?
Yeah, well, I used to live in New York. I have a presence in New York. I spent a lot of time there. Still have family who lives there, but originally from Milwaukee. So I started the meetup in Milwaukee, and it was one of the early kind of more powerful meetups in terms of just gathering attention. And I did that with what you guys are doing right now with the Hangouts live, you know, talking to people in the industry, talking to other companies and entrepreneurs, and bringing that attention to your local meetup, especially in a small town, Midwestern town like Milwaukee. It was huge, and I'm really glad to see this kind of virtual community replicated in all these other meetups. And yeah, so then for the last year I've been in Florida and traveling a lot. The success of the Milwaukee meetup and other Bitcoin activities I was doing there led to invitations around the country, and you know, I took up as many of those as I could, did the traveling, and spent the last calendar year in Florida helping with their meetup and the community there in St. Petersburg as they were ramping up for the Bitcoin Bowl. Hey, kitty! And so that was a lot of fun too, but you know, San Diego I think is where I was meant to be, and I'm glad I found my way here.
That's totally cool. And Paul, are you from San Diego, or where are you from, Paul?
So from a small handful of places, but I feel like I am from San Diego. I've been here for the past 6-7 years. But originally, I spent most of my life actually in the Bay Area, in San Francisco, Silicon Valley, East Bay of San Francisco, Berkeley, Oakland, whatnot. So that's kind of my first home, but it's definitely San Diego at this point. That's where my home is, where my wife is, and kind of my second family. So this is a place that I'd really love to kind of incite and grow both Bitcoin adoption and technology as well. So I think that we're on the right track.
And okay, so that's good to hear. I look forward to going to San Diego. It's supposed to be exquisitely beautiful down there. We've got another person we haven't introduced yet. This is MK Lords, also known as Megan. Megan, hello.
Hey, so great to be here.
Yeah, so why don't you say hello to everybody and tell us where your history is and what you're doing with the company, please.
All right, so I just joined AIRBITZ as a community manager. I'll be educating people about Bitcoins, getting feedback from users, you know, making sure to engage with them, you know, on social media and other outlets, making sure they get their questions answered, things like that. Speaking at conferences, writing, and editing. And a lot of the stuff I've kind of been doing for the past couple of years with Bitcoin Not Bombs, and I've also written for Bitcoin Magazine and things like that. So I'm really excited. I've been really impressed by the team and you know, and the development with the app, and just how it really fuses these two or several concepts together, but really solves some of these very difficult conflicts of ease of use and security and privacy. So so I'd heard about AIRBITZ for a while, and I met Paul at Libertopia back in November and got to talk with him a while, and just kind of followed them, and kind of like Will said, you know, just been really impressed by what I've seen, and then you know, Will kind of reached out to me. He was like, oh, hey, you know, you might want to check out AIRBITZ, you know, and I knew when he was saying good things, I was like, okay, Will's someone I trust. We've done the Bitcoin group together and things like that, so I was like, okay, I'm going to look more closely into things, and the kitty again. So I'm just really happy to be on board. Everyone's been great so far. Right now I'm working remotely in Pensacola, but I'll be moving to San Diego at the end of October, and I can't wait. You know, I've always wanted an excuse to move to California. So, so I'm very excited to be doing what I love and also working with such an awesome team of people. So I kind of come from the activist side of things. Some people may know me from Bitcoin Not Bombs, and also kind of raising awareness about other charities and nonprofits in the space. So, so yeah, I'm just really happy to be here.
Sweet. That's cool. That's super cool. Yeah, it's interesting that you're from the activist side. Paul, you're kind of, this is a business thing, obviously. I mean, it's a business you've created. You know, your focus is on gathering the next 1 billion users, which is an excellent vision. But you're also a libertarian, because I keep getting these sort of messages that you've got a very strong libertarian focus. Do you want to maybe tell us a little bit about that? Is that possible?
It's almost impossible. How do you describe your libertarian side and still be a businessman? So it's very, very possible, and I think it's rooted a lot in history and experience. I was definitely not raised in a libertarian point of view household and family, but it was life experiences. Primarily, the experiences I've had with a lot of large organizations, everything from the healthcare industry to the food industry to the pharmaceutical and also the financial industry, and felt for a long time that there's just nothing that I could do about it. There was this, well, I just live my life the way I believe I can live it, and just be an example by what I do. But having come across Bitcoin, this is a very, very powerful, disruptive technology, kind of merged different aspects of my life. I've been an engineer for quite a number of years, but also a small business person. I was the person on the other side of the counter getting green credit card fees and chargebacks, and literally biking tens of thousands of dollars, several blocks from a nightclub that I used to run, over to the bank and depositing that money and hoping that the next week someone didn't notice that I did this every single Monday. And seeing this technology is like, oh my God, this can solve both the problems of cash, of current digital money transfer, and also try to shift the power and control from what I consider to be overly large institutions and bring it back to smaller, both individuals in developed countries, and of course what has been overstated, individuals also in developing countries. So it fit all parts of my past. Everything came together nicely, and there was no way that I could kind of hold back from quitting what I was originally doing and focusing 120% into this industry.
Interesting. When I first heard about AIRBITZ at a Bitcoin co-op meeting here at Quadrica, actually one of our sponsors' office, like a year ago a bit. And are you a friend of Max Wright's? Because Max Wright was talking about you guys like crazy. Do you know Max? He's big, tall. He's built like a freaking linebacker. Max, you know, yeah, the biggest guy in the world, right? I feel like, I feel like a thumbbill beside him, or a hobbit. So yeah, how do you guys know each other?
Yeah, Max, actually, we AIRBITZ our first podcast interview at the New York Inside Bitcoins conference when we first launched our app back in April of 2014. And so I got to thank him for giving us basically the first coverage for things we never really had before. And he has a little bit of presence in San Diego, so I'd actually met him at one of the meetups here, although he's so in and out, he travels all over the place. So I don't really see him a whole lot. Maybe I've seen him 3 times in San Diego and a couple times in conferences around the world. But great, jolly guy. He got to meet and know our team through some of the conferences, and I think that might be his incentive behind, like, hey, let's try to push awareness of this company and what they're doing, and have other people look at it, and hopefully they like what he likes as well. And so I thank him for that kind of coverage that came early on when we needed it. No! Hello?
Yeah, we're back.
Oh, we're back. Okay. Did everyone get disconnected? Or was it just us?
I think it was just the
Hello, hey.
Vancouver group.
Have we been online for you this whole time, MK?
Yeah, it was the Vancouver group that got disconnected.
Okay, because we're always so worried about our network connection. Yeah, it just went down earlier for like maybe 5 minutes. I have to reboot, but
The office is still under construction, and the internet connectivity is part of that. So.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, that has no site in being fixed.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, it wasn't up yet.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to jump back in.
Yeah. What's that setup you got back there? Is that like a sound damping clock or something, or is that just a wall?
It's just basically like a kind of backdrop, like a fabric backdrop I got from like a Copy Lobby or something. It's kind of a nice background. It kind of like hopefully mutes the sound a little bit. So.
No, if you end up coming over here and you see this wall, it is an echo chamber inside of this closet that we do our meetings in.
I can hear it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's some soundproofing foam or something.
I feel like we need that.
We need a little bit.
There. We'll be putting some wood paneling, which will help a little bit, but between
a rug.
A rug might help. There's concrete floor in the entire office. It's all concrete.
Okay.
I see some people joining in.
Oh, good.
Yeah, looks like they're jumping back.
Guys. Oh, sorry about that. I think it's the cats. The cats jinxed it somehow. I don't know what they did. But yeah.
Those cats.
So yeah, the show was still live while we were gone. So I mean, it's all good. Whatever you guys are talking about, hopefully you were saying nice, good things about us.
It was boring without you, Freddie.
So back to Max. You guys met in San Diego? No, you met in New York, and then you're hanging out in San Diego.
Yeah, we actually originally we met in San Diego and saw him again in New York where he gave us a little bit of coverage. But I think we just want to thank him a lot for the original coverage that he gave us back when we were really kind of nobody on the block. And I think he met our team, saw our drive and our vision, and that's what hopefully that's what he kind of saw in us, and continue to push our presence with other people in the Bitcoin space.
Very, very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, he's a very unique dude for sure. I mean, we still haven't fully figured out Max yet, but he's a bit of a globetrotter. You know what I mean?
Yep. I saw him in Amsterdam, New York, San Diego, and we spent some time in Vancouver. So
yeah.
A bit of a globetrotter. Lucky him.
Okay, cool. So, Nick, what was it? Were we supposed to talk about? You had a bit of a format. I can't remember things to save my life. So, should we just ask questions now?
Yeah, pretty much covered the basics. So.
Yeah, covered the
Hey,
basics.
Freddie, while you're thinking about that,
Oh yeah.
I want to shout out to these guys and thank them for this. I just looked on my bag. You guys had the best swag in Toronto a couple of years ago.
What is it?
Look at this.
A little carabiner?
Yeah, look what it says on it.
Oh yeah, because Paul, you're into mountain climbing or something, are you? Are you a mountain climber?
I am I guess you could say a wannabe dirtbag rock climber, but not doing so well since the advent of launching a startup. But I'm at least trying to get some weekends into the climbing gym at this point. Yeah, I used to climb some good tall rocks that I really enjoyed. But
Paul's a mountain climber in every sense of the word.
Yeah. Plug. Paul's a mountain climber.
Has been Bitcoin and startups have been the mountain that I've been working on for the past year and a half.
All good. Cool. Oh God, here we go. This has been a very interesting day today.
A catastrophe.
It's been a catastrophe. I don't know if it's the cats, but it's like our other projector just went out. Kinko's got the blinking red light. What does that mean?
I don't know. Just power.
Can you unplug it and then replug it back in? And so, do we have another question for Paul while we're hanging out here?
Which one is it?
It's the brown one. Brown one. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I might as well chime in here, Paul. You know what? I really am interested in your view on the current debate that's going on with Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin XT. So I was wondering,
Question of the month.
There you
the
go.
folks
yeah.
here
Yeah.
with your vision about that a bit.
Block size debate, in case you didn't figure that out.
So if people really want to go there, this is going to be a deep one. And also, definitely a subject of a lot of debate, a lot of disagreement with people. But even before the entire Bitcoin XT thing and forking and the block size debate, we've always fundamentally believed at AIRBITZ that it is important for Bitcoin to have multiple implementations, to decentralize Bitcoin not just by owning the keys or by having multiple people working on it and by miners, but the key thing that a lot of people forget in the decentralized aspect of Bitcoin is that Bitcoin is not software. Bitcoin is a protocol. And protocols need multiple implementations of software to be robust. And so we actually don't use and support or contribute to Bitcoin D or Bitcoin Core. We use a different one called LibBitcoin, which was developed for Dark Wallet by Amir Taki, and we contribute heavily to it now. In the same sense, if you think about it, Bitcoin XT is simply now another implementation of the same protocol. And we think that that's an important thing because that gives miners and node operators a choice. They don't just simply have one choice as to what software to run that implements the protocol. They have multiple choices. And when it comes to consensus of the protocol, consensus of what Bitcoin is, we think it's important for nodes and miners to be able to choose what is the path they want. And for the most part, up until now, they've really only had one choice. So whether or not I agree with this XT software project from a what it is changing point of view, and in all honesty, I actually don't agree with XT. I still fundamentally believe that it needed to exist, and more things like XT need to exist that are developed by independent developers that are no longer developing Bitcoin Core. and we intend to live Bitcoin to be one of those options as well. Right now, it agrees with Bitcoin Core, but in the future, should there be a debate about some other aspect of changing consensus, we'd like to be able to have our vote through our software implementation that we contribute to.
Awesome. And some people have also kind of been talking about the fact about how this actual change is being pushed through. In the sense that Gavin and Mike are really kind of taking and hijacking the code for themselves. What do you feel about people who speak in that particular light?
I think that I would this is hijacking the code and taking it for themselves. It's open source code. You're allowed to take it. You're allowed to fork it. That's what the license is about. And if any two people could have done the exact same thing. And I think any two people should be encouraged to do the exact same thing. And I think the way we've been doing it before XT has actually been the wrong way. The wrong way is having a small group of people who have nothing to do with mining and nothing to do with running nodes deciding what goes into the next version of Bitcoin Core, and everybody runs Bitcoin Core. I think the correct way is to have multiple implementations, everybody, and having different parties work on those implementations, and then the people that vote are the miners and node operators. And so people call it hijacking of this code base, but that's exactly what open source code is supposed to have, is the ability for people to develop their own. And they could rewrite it from scratch if they wanted to, or they can fork it. That's what the license showed. Megan, you still there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still here. I was just muted. So yeah, it looks like they might have fallen out again.
On the XT fork.
Get the app running with feature if you want to have. Oh, it's somebody somebody else is online.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
this?
Alex, would you want to unmute? And
Oh yeah, so hey guys. So yeah, I was playing around with this Android on my PC, and I downloaded the app and sent some stuff to it. It's pretty snappy and really quick. I'm quite happy with it. It might be worth updating to iOS 8 to get it. But the map, the directory is great. There's a lot of stuff on it. You guys have been really filling it out, that's for sure.
Yeah, we still work on it, and we've got 2 people that work on it almost full time just to curate the listings. And there's anything that we just ask the community, but the hardest part is actually knowing which listings are to remove. But we verify every listing before it gets placed, you know. And so if it's inaccurate, then it's just a matter of, well, we didn't know that they stopped taking it because someone confirmed to us that they did. You said it's running on your computer?
Yeah, I played around with I think it's called BlueStack. It works okay. It's not too crazy. But yeah, I just created an account quickly.
Oh, very cool.
And I got it up. Yeah, I don't know. It's just something to play around with and show off your app. I wanted to get this running earlier today. But so you guys are kind of breaching into blockchain.info's territory. Are you kind of, are they one of your main competitors, or are you trying to, I guess, one up or branch into something different?
Well, since we're not online with Vancouver, I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, it's going to be one of those things where we're in this space. A lot of companies step on a lot of other companies. In the end, we're all kind of financially oriented, so we're all financial applications. So yeah, there's definitely some overlap in competitive nature with blockchain.info. I feel like they serve kind of a different market. You know, they definitely have functionality that we don't have, and that we don't intend to have. Like we're not going to be a web-based wallet. You know, it's not even on the roadmap. Doesn't interest us. We don't have a block explorer, which to my understanding is a large portion of their revenue. And so I think, and once again, they're kind of a more technical wallet. They have some other technical functionality that we don't have. So there's a significant amount of overlap, but also there's some uniqueness in each product and a different market that we're trying to address. So in a nutshell, that's kind of my answer, and that applies for many other companies too, not just them.
I see. So I'm just messaging a couple of the other guys to find out what's going on at Decentral right now. I'm not even sure if we're broadcasting right now, but just in case we are, to keep everyone entertained.
Yeah, if you're live. Exactly. Hopefully someone's in there.
All right.
Chrome crashed. Okay, got it. Please continue in chat because it's recording. They said it's recording, so we should keep it entertaining.
Okay. All right. So I read that you guys kind of do, I guess, a backup of keys and some sort of decentralized web server. Like you're kind of doing something similar to blockchain.info where you are storing a backup, I guess, so you can be on, you can have the same wallet on multiple devices, correct?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the coolest features of AIRBITZ, I think, is the ability to securely store encrypted customer data. You know, we don't know who's who or what's what inside of those files. It's all encrypted client side before it gets to our servers. And the best part about that is AIRBITZ could go down and users could still use the wallet and recover their funds. So that's, I mean, AIRBITZ has been impressing me as I've taken closer and closer look at it over the last year with how they're managing user error, you know, and kind of paving over the cracks of potential user error. So there's lots of little ways that people can screw up their user experience and really sour themselves on Bitcoin or a particular wallet. You know, I mean, blockchain.info has been in the news quite a bit with some of these, and you know, it's been unfortunate. And some of the other wallets as well. I know Mycelium's iOS version has had some trouble, but you know, the amount of time and attention and soul that this team has put into making the user experience a joy and kind of, I don't want to say foolproof, but nearly foolproof. It's really impressive. So you can mess up in a lot of ways, forget your password, break a device, whatever, and not lose your funds. So, and we've made that very easy for people, and it's only going to get more easy, you know, as we engage more and more users.
I see. Yeah, because I know I remember hearing about like a code update on blockchain.info, and it was generating some bogus keys that were really easy to guess. So I think that's a kind of concern on everyone's mind when it comes to cloud wallets.
Actually, it should be a concern on everyone's mind regarding any wallet, because some of the issues that you know, blockchain info had are something that, in all honesty, any wallet can have. It's simply a random number generator gone sour, and it could be a cloud wallet. It could be Bitcoin Core itself, or it could be the platform that Bitcoin Core runs on. So there are some honest mistakes. We're all human, and we're not immune to just human error. So we try to definitely put in a lot of effort to prevent those type of critical security flaws, and I think we're one of the few teams in the industry that actually has, even at our size, has a QA department. And we have about, I call it 2.5 people that, you know, before every release, hammer on our app for easily 2 to 3 days, which amounts to almost a man a week, sometimes upwards of 2 man weeks worth of manual testing, in addition to some of the automated stuff that we put the wallet core through. So a lot goes into every single release, and I think we hold ourselves proud on each push out to the public.
All right, I just want to jump in. Alex, thank you. You saved our ass tonight. I fucking love you. Alex, everybody, Alex Sturck from Vancouver, originally from just outside London, Ontario. Thank you very much, Alex. Paul, we've got some questions for you. Kiko's got a very good one. Wait, here he is. This is Kiko. Kiko has a very interesting question for Paul.
Sure.
Maybe Alex already asked it, so I apologize if it's come up. Just curious what your kind of VC pitch is. It's a very cutthroat market in the wallet space right now. They're free apps. This is, you know, a crowded space. What are you telling people in terms of your revenue stream long term?
Are you a VC by any chance?
He could be. He could be pretty soon, by the way.
All depends on the price of Bitcoin or whatever coin you might happen to have, or Ether, I'll assume. But what do you call it? So a lot of people do see us as on the surface, a wallet, mobile, iOS, Android. That's kind of it. And they're like, oh, that space is really competitive, and to a lot of VCs and angels, that's just not interesting for them. What's given us a lot of traction in the space is, number one, you know, from a monetization point of view, we believe in decentralized access to buy and sell services. So connecting people to their value, both, you know, in the U.S. and potentially Canada and many other countries. And so that's a quick and easy revenue stream for us. But what really, really excites us and other people is the fact that AIRBITZ is not just an app, but it's also a platform. It's a platform for zero-knowledge, secure, private application. And that can apply to both Bitcoin and to any application that needs secure, private, synchronized, encrypted data in a zero-knowledge manner such that AIRBITZ nor the application developer has access to that data or sees the data or knows about the person that's trying to store the data. So we envision being able to incorporate the AIRBITZ platform for things like other financial applications or other blockchain technology apps, Augur, anything built on Ethereum, or anything built on Counterparty. All of those, all blockchain apps have one thing in common, which is they need to secure a private key. And in the end, that's what a wallet does. And if you feel like you've done it really, really well, then you can apply that security technology to securing other private keys. In essence, edge security is our pitch. And so you ask the main question is, what are your pitch to VCs? Well, it's edge security. And Bitcoin has motivated the need for really good edge security because, for once, you don't want to put security into an enterprise server. You want to keep that with people. And that's what Bitcoin's about. People keep the value, they hold it themselves for the first time ever. Well, let's apply the security that's so paramount for Bitcoin, and now let's apply it for everything, or not everything else, but for a lot of other things. Anything that someone wants to keep themselves.
Interesting.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi,
Paul. Paul, this is David Lowy.
Hi, guys. One of the questions that VCs ask, of course, is where's the money coming from? Kiko covered that. The other question that I often see come up is, where's the moat? What are you doing to keep your users, and stop other people from doing what you're doing?
Right, so actually our platform play is the closest thing to our moat because we can imagine an entire ecosystem. We're an ecosystem play where the current users that are using AIRBITZ become the starting point of the ecosystem. We're the first app. Our mobile app is the first app on this platform. But imagine someone using the AIRBITZ encrypted synchronized database for a financial app that can track all your transactions, such as what your banks do, your cash transactions, maybe for a business or point of sale, and your payroll. And that information being local client-side encrypted on your computer or on your phone, and then synchronized with other computers, and the transactions in your AIRBITZ wallet getting synchronized automatically with that financial application. And all of that using the same authentication credentials across these different apps. That starts creating what we think is a great aspect of stickiness while still having zero knowledge of our users. It's still a zero knowledge platform. We don't have to know things like the way Facebook would know. I mean, in the way Facebook's a platform, but they know every single app that's connected to them. They know all of the users, and they know how users connect to the different applications. So we want to build what we feel is the world's moving towards, which is more secure, more private applications, but still give that experience of having this ecosystem. So in our view, that's our stickiness point, is to build an ecosystem out of our platform, and it starts first with our mobile app for Bitcoin.
And so do you guys deal with or communicate with or hang out with the BitPay dudes at all? Because they're kind of on the same like tip to a degree. They've got the whole platform and Bitcoin, Bitcore, I think they call it, Bitcore. So do you guys hang out or chat with them or explore what they do at all, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, not so many of their engineers, but I have gotten to know plenty of the people who work there over the last couple of years. I think what they're doing, I know it's recently shifting focus somewhat away from payments processing so much and more to the platformization. So it's interesting. I mean, like I think Paul said a few minutes ago, the rising tide raises all ships, I think. So as some of these, very innovative companies start to build and show an example to maybe what you might call their competitors, really they're, we're all like constituents of Bitcoin. So once, as one company strengthens Bitcoin, the other companies benefit, the other users benefit too. And as Paul said, if you have multiple implementations and you're building successful things on one, these can be replicated or these can be learned from for the other implementations and the companies or the people who are around them supporting them. So I don't know of anybody but OpenBazaar and AIRBITZ really dedicated to serving LibBitcoin. I don't know if there's any other players out there really serving that that code base. But yeah, the BitPays of the world focusing on what they're calling Bitcore, and which is really the Bitcoin core, pretty much. Yeah, it's all, as we build and grow, it's going to just benefit everybody. And this is the troubling thing about some of the nastiness in this XT Bitcoin core debate is, you know, it's contentious, I think, to a fault. You know, it doesn't have to be that way. The parties around XT can be pushing XT without all the mudslinging going on back and forth from both sides. You know, we can all still benefit. So I hope, you know, people stop calling for people's heads on commit access to the core, and stop just the mudslinging all across social media that's really confusing for a lot of the interested bystanders or like the non-technical dedicated core of users. So that can be a real distraction, taking away from, again, this, let's work on raising the tide here.
I totally agree with you on that. I just wanted to introduce you guys to Eleanor. This is Eleanor right here. She's the mother of the two little squirrels that run around all the time. Somebody else here has a question. Who had a question again?
Kiko has another.
Kiko has a question.
You guys seem really strong on the marketing and community side, you know, especially bringing on MK and Will there. What do you guys have planned? You know, what are you guys going to be doing with the community? We're a community hub here. We're always looking for ideas. What's your strategy?
Pass that on to Megan.
Yeah, so we're wanting to make connections with a lot of meetup groups over in the U.S. and across the world. And a couple of other things I've done is event planning. I've done a couple Bitcoin conferences, and so I just anything we do to kind of engage people and get people interested and asking questions, and whether that's through meetups or other types of events. We'll be doing a Bit panel next month in San Diego. I believe that's the 23rd. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. So it's San Francisco. Sorry. So we'll be doing that. It'll be a panel event, and I think that'll be really interesting. And hopefully we'll be able to do more things like that. I guess I'll kind of be handling a lot of that. Me and Will both, but yeah. So I really like doing things where you can bring the community together and bring just a lot of diverse opinions together too, and just kind of bounce ideas around. That's one of the reasons I like conferences so much, is you get to meet such a huge variety of people, and you get to hear all the cool ideas that they're working on. And as Will said earlier, this is something that I really think we're all in this together, and there's just so many good ideas and so many interesting people in this space right now that there's definitely room for everyone, I think, and debate, and like healthy debate and criticism too. So
yeah, just to chime in about that too, Megan mentioned engaging with meetups like you guys at Decentral in Vancouver. We're going to connect with lots of meetups around the world, and not just focus on teaching them about AIRBITZ, but teaching them about Bitcoin in general. And one of the things I'm really excited about having Megan side by side with me on is making sure that the ethos of Bitcoin that Satoshi envisioned, that can be a message that we carry through and kind of package up for people who, the next wave of adoptees, when it comes, and it may come before the end of the year, it may come before next summer, may come after the block halving next summer, but we know it's going to come, and the next wave will include a strong, large contingent that's not really affiliated, let's say, with let's say the small L libertarians or the crypto libertarians that have pretty heavily populated the user base up to this point. And that there's no reason why they can't find the true ethos of Bitcoin, the open source money, open access to finance, globally, free, accessible, open, that they can't find that appealing too. And so Megan and I, and really AIRBITZ as a whole, we're really going to forward that message.
That is fucking awesome. And you pretty much nailed it. You're right. That halving that's going to come up is going to be absolutely massive. Everybody here knows it, and we're looking so forward to that. Guys, we got to have a party in the Bahamas. We got to have Max Wright have a party in the Bahamas, because it's going to be so massive. Greg has a question.
Hey guys. Paul, I don't know if you remember, but I met you in Manila back in December at a meetup.
Yes.
This question is for both of you, actually. This whole next wave concept, I think, is very exciting, and I'm very curious about what you envision that being, whether it's a cohort of first world middle class North Americans discovering a new type of money, or whether it's people in Africa that get access to a digital financial system. Like, how do you envision that, and how do you see your company playing a role in that great transition?
I kind of see two things, and then I'm totally interested in Megan's reaction to this thought. I don't think we've really talked about it yet, but I know that a lot of the adoption of Bitcoin will come from people who are in crisis or in crisis areas. And it's really unfortunate, but it just is a testament to the really tragic systems that so many human beings live under. And I'm trying to be as nice about that, say that as nicely as possible, but I really do feel, unfortunately so, that many people will come to Bitcoin from a need-based point of view, much like the Backpage situation a couple weeks, months ago. There's this great video going around the interwebs right now from Paxful. If you go to his channel on YouTube, I highly recommend watching this video. It's moving, it's emotional, it's short and sweet, and it drives the point home that people are coming to Bitcoin out of need. And that will still happen, but I'm also excited by what we're doing and other companies who are making user interfaces that allow people to interact with Bitcoin, interact with the network so much more easily than, let's say, many of us who might have gotten into Bitcoin in early 2013 or even prior, when you were still, scouring Reddit and Bitcoin Talk to figure out how to create a brain wallet or a paper wallet securely and offline. There were no hardware wallets. There only the rich VCs in Silicon Valley had the retrofitted laptops for cold storage and these kinds of things. So now that these devices are more ubiquitous, and now that we're moving along with our roadmap, and there are other such companies with really cool user interfaces coming out that allow just about anyone to use Bitcoin. I mean, there are some companies that are solving massively complex problems, and the user won't even be aware that they're using Bitcoin. And I think this is really powerful too. So you can use Bitcoin without even knowing you're using it and still have all the benefits from it. That's incredible. So the next wave, I think, will be from those two sides. The need-based side, or those who are in crisis, unfortunately, and then, of course, people who think, and I'm already seeing this, people who think it's cool. People who, I'm seeing this in San Diego all the time. I've been here a month, and I see it all the time. I can go walk down, streets in Ocean Beach and see street vendors, street artists, or small shops, and just in passing as a joke, be like, hey, you don't take Bitcoin yet? And they're like, oh, Bitcoin's still around? Oh, wait, tell me about that. What's going on with that? Oh, that's cool.
Well, Will, I got a question for you. While you're walking down Ocean Boulevard, or whatever it's called, can you see the aircraft carriers from there?
Not in Ocean Beach, but on the way to Ocean Beach, you can definitely see all of that.
That's very cool. So these guys are interested in Bitcoin and accepting. Is that what you're saying?
No, it might be a West Coast thing. I'm not sure, but yeah, what I'm seeing is Bitcoin is now cool. It's becoming cool. It's not just cool for crypto libertarians, cypherpunks, and hackers and the like. It's becoming cool for or Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. It's becoming cool for just people who I would say there's an internet contingent that uses maybe 5 websites a day, and then there's a contingent that uses maybe 20 to 25 a day, and then there's people like us who we can go anywhere. We know how to find our way around.
Yeah, we have 20 tabs open at once.
Right. So it's that group that uses more than 5 websites a day that is starting to feel like Bitcoin's cool. At least in my opinion, this is what I'm seeing. So that's that other side, not the need-based group, but the it's cool.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of that too. Now when I use the word Bitcoin, people don't look at me like I'm crazy, and they're like, okay, what are you talking about? People actually want to know more and learn more about it. But yeah, the reason I got into Bitcoin was, I guess, from the needs based side of things Will was talking about, basically like the activist side, there have been already a few successful groups who've used Bitcoin when their funding was cut off. Antiwar.com was one of them. WikiLeaks was one of them. Free Aid actually used Bitcoin to get aid down to the Philippines, and PayPal had cut off their funding at one point, but the Bitcoin donations couldn't be stopped, and this allowed them to reach remote areas that larger aid organizations couldn't reach. So I think you're really going to see that aspect of it growing. I mean, I think it's wonderful that like people can buy coffee with Bitcoin and do that, and you're definitely going to see that growing. You're seeing both sides growing, but I guess where I'd like to see it grow the best is where it could benefit people the most, and that's people who don't have access to some of the things that we kind of take for granted here.
That's what Greg was just being a loudmouth about, actually, is that Africa is probably going to be a big area of impact with this kind of technology in the near future. Both the gentlemen are nodding their heads right now. They totally agree. I'm just going to switch over to Alex Sturkey. Sturkey, you said you wanted to show something to us. What are you going to show us, Sturk?
Oh, it was just kind of, I guess, a need or more of a want. I was looking at the transactions, wherever my transactions went here on the app. Yeah, I've been scooting around in this thing, and this is a beautiful app. Like, there's so much going on here and so much hidden. Even in the settings here, you can. I love that you guys have the default set to bits, because that's really the standard we need to get to, default currency. But what I really want in here is a default fee, because that's something I always like playing around with. But that being said, you guys are using a 30-bit fee, where like blockchain.info, I think their default is set to like 200 bits now. So I'm happy you guys got that.
What was that again? What was that second setting that you liked?
Oh, I would like to see a default fee, like the fee included with every transaction. I like playing around with that. I'm a bit more of a power user that way.
Yeah. We don't let users set that fee, and I know that that's caused some discussion, especially for some of our users. In the end, we, in the aspect of ease of use and functionality, and really our goal is to include functionality into the app that is usable by kind of the 99th percentile. And changing your fees, in our regard, tends to be a more power user thing. It's definitely the sub 99th percentile case where people just want their money to go through. They want to know what the fee is, but they just want their money to go through. And so the fee is actually dynamic. We can actually control what the fee is based on market fluctuations of spamming of the network, load on the network, and what miners are deciding is the required fee. So we adjust it up and down, not too frequently. Obviously, there's also the price of Bitcoin affects the fee as well. And so we adjust it without having to spin up a new binary that people have to download. But for the most part, we try to keep that invisible to the user and just send a good fee for what transaction they're trying to send.
Excellent. Yeah. The other thing was too with creating a wallet. I noticed when I create a new one here, it lets me choose the currency. Well, what's the deal behind that? Does that kind of change the default currency on the app? I haven't been able to kind of figure it out yet.
So like each time you create a new wallet within your account there, you can select the currency as you see there, and it will stay that way for that particular wallet. So the use case kind of would be like, oh, I'm going to go to visit the UK. So I want a separate wallet inside of my AIRBITZ account on my phone that is in Great British pounds and pound sterling, and then I just don't have to worry about currency conversions between anything else in Bitcoin, just pounds and Bitcoin. And I'm going to put my vacation spending money in that wallet. So that's the idea there. Just because we have if you look in the transaction list and you'll find if you tap a transaction, it opens up some transaction details that you can edit and adjust for yourself, and it's kind of like keeping your own transaction ledger. It's customizable. The only thing that isn't is once you choose that particular currency for that wallet, it won't be able to change, because that kind of just alters how it accounts for Bitcoins and fiat inside of that wallet. So especially if you're logging detailed information about each transaction, like I exchanged some money with MK. We were in Liverpool, and put some notes in there so that later at the end of the year when I, reluctantly have to do my taxes, it all makes sense. It's easier. It's much less of a headache. Some of us, especially in the U.S., I'm not exactly sure what it's like for you all in Canada, but in the U.S. last year for sure, it was a major headache to account for all your taxes. So there's a simple way that AIRBITZ kind of helps users with that. It's that transaction details page you're looking at right there.
I'm just going to jump in there and say that that is a very interesting feature. It's not entirely intuitive, but it's very, very interesting. It's almost like an advanced, it's almost a business like feature. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like something like that I really understood myself early, because I was like, we've got a Pepsi machine over there, which is fucking amazing and famous, and we can actually send Bitcoin to it to get a beer, right? And I've got my first wallet on AIRBITZ was in US dollars, so, and all my money was in that wallet, or that wallet. And I was like, oh man, I had to do a thing in my head because I couldn't switch it back to Canadian. But now I get where you guys are coming across from, because that makes sense. If I'm traveling, then it splits it all into that currency, and that's actually really, really interesting. Hey?
There's somewhat of a technical reason why we do that as well. Every wallet is unique to our wallet. Not many wallets allow you to save metadata. They simply save the Bitcoin transaction. And anything about the transaction that's not Bitcoin, such as the fiat value, is just something that they just look up. They look up at the current exchange rate. Well, what AIRBITZ lets you do, and it does this automatically, it saves the fiat value at the time of the transaction as metadata. It's saved, encrypted, and backed up. Now, the challenge for us is we can save the fiat value of the currency of that wallet, but if you go and switch the currency to something else, what do we do with all of those values? And since those values are simply just metadata, they're not on the blockchain or whatnot, they effectively are stuck. And switching that over becomes a huge challenge. So instead, we say, okay, well, create a new wallet and determine what your fiat currency is for that wallet. And we make it easy to transfer value between wallets. That's another thing. So there isn't as much friction in moving some funds from one wallet to another. It's like, I think, 2 or 3 taps and then funds are transferred. There's no copying and pasting of addresses to go from one wallet to another. But I fully agree. It is a little different. It's definitely a little bit confusing for a lot of people that haven't used a wallet like that. And the irony of it is it's rooted in the fact that we do allow this metadata to be saved, this per transaction fiat currency value at the time of the transaction metadata. And because of that, it creates a little bit of this extra confusion. And we're still always looking for different ways to solve that.
So my quick question to you is, Paul, do you experience a lot of pushback from your users with regards to that? I'm just curious, because a lot of like I'm half retarded. I always tell everybody I'm half retarded. So I consider myself a very normal person, right? So, and I was kind of miffed by that for a second in the beginning. But do you get a lot of pushback from new users regarding that?
We haven't gotten a lot of pushback. Maybe people just in their local vicinity, in their local currency. And so the phone tries to guess what your local currency is based on your settings and your locale data, and it picks that as your default currency. And when you create your first wallet, it does that. And so education is going to be a key part, like you said. Most people don't know, and so that's why we've got a great team here to build out great educational content to teach people what's a great way to use the wallet when you are traveling and when you have different currencies to deal with. And we're also just going to look for different ways of doing it, different ways of exposing the functionality, making it clearer to people. So things like, we've toyed with the idea of, as soon as you create your account, it asks you, right now we think you're Canadian dollars. Do you want something else? That makes things clearer, but potentially adds friction in the account creation process. So we have to balance that in everything we do. People say, well, make it clear, but clear adds friction. Ironically, we think the two go hand in hand, but they actually don't.
Totally agree with you on that. David had a question for you.
Yeah, guys, how do you find metrics in the wallet world? How do you measure market share, for example, when you're doing Bitcoin wallets, when that isn't as visible as, say, web browsers would be to the internet?
Definitely a challenge. We know how many accounts we have, but we don't ever really know users. I mean, we don't ever want to know users, and so it's going to be a tough thing to say. Plus, there's a ton of overlap. A lot of people will use when you view a web page with a browser, then you kind of know that you did use a different one. Whereas if someone's using a wallet, they're using a specific wallet and not another one. There's an aspect of transaction volume, which we also don't have 100% visibility on. We know how many transactions go through our wallet, but we don't know the value of the transactions. We don't know who did them, and we don't even know if they're incoming or outgoing. And if a person transferred from AIRBITZ to AIRBITZ, we see that as two transactions because we can't tell that it went out of our ecosystem because we don't really have that aspect of the ecosystem. So transaction volume is probably the closest thing that we can look at to see how much of the network we have in that respect. But I think the first thing that we ask ourselves as a fairly young company is less market share, but are we building the right product? By inquiring with users like you guys, which is part of our communication strategy, and really talk to these meetups, do evaluations. We just recently pushed out a survey into our app, which I don't know if any of you guys have seen, but so far the results have been overwhelmingly positive, which we feel great about that. We're doing something right in that respect.
I totally did your survey like yesterday. It was a very it's a very good thing because I mean as soon as you open the wallet, and it's good that really this is feedback. You kept it to 4 questions, which was really, really good. Because it wasn't that much of a big deal for me to actually give you 4 answers. You know what I mean? So congratulations on that. Kiko has a feature request. Kiko?
Maybe already included. I'm just curious about you mentioned tax time. What's the process of getting that transaction data out of say Android or iPhone app and into your tax software or whatever? Can you just get a CSV? Can you email it to yourself? How does that work?
Yeah, well, someone here has got AIRBITZ. Alex has got AIRBITZ sitting on his screen, and if you want to walk through, you can actually go to and choose the wallet that you want, the current active wallet, and you can export your transactions to a CSV that you can actually email yourself, or I believe it's email, and I think if you're on actually both iOS and Android, you can send it to a Google Drive account. It's a CSV. It's not a format that just any financial software can understand. So there's some massaging that will have to happen, or you just simply give it to your accountant and say deal with it. Everything there is what you need. There, you got the date, the time of the transaction, the amount in Bitcoin, the amount in dollars. After that, you can of course calculate an exchange rate, which is really what an accountant would need. And then it's got all the technical gobbledygook with transaction IDs and public addresses. There's no private keys in the export. But it also does include the payee name, the category of the transaction, and the notes of the transaction, all in that CSV export. So that is available to users, and I've used it quite a handful of times. I think it's quite helpful. And you'll see that the roots of this app come from somebody that has had QuickBooks and Quicken experience. And that was me in my small business world. I was the QuickBooks dork that wanted to categorize and do everything, and I felt that this is what was missing. Because it was weird that my digital wallet had the same amount of trackability as cash. Like I had hundreds of transactions, and I had no idea what any of them were. And they were just 2 days ago. I'm like, what the heck was this 0.035 millibit thing or Bitcoin thing? I had no idea, and that was a pain point for me. And I felt like it didn't have to be that way. You could actually look back and go, oh, I remember that. I remember what it was for because I can tag it. So that's our big selling point. But it was, that comes the challenge of encrypting data for the user, so that way we don't see that. I think that would be a huge breach of privacy if you just stored that data on our server where we could see it all. So hard problem to solve, but it was a fun one.
Interesting. I've got a quick question regarding Libit. Is it Libit? Libit coin. So what brought you guys to that? We're going to open a node here. Nick talked us into it. We're going to be a node here. Yeah. We're all about that. Actually, our famous pop machine over there is actually a full Bitcoin node, thanks to Taylor, and of course Kiko had a big part in that as well, and Greg actually had a huge part in that. So tell us about the Libit coin? Lib Bitcoin. God damn, that's a tough one.
Lib from library.
Lib from library coin. Can you guys tell us what brought you into that? What brought us there?
Live Bitcoin was almost the combination of many different aspects of AIRBITZ and what Live Bitcoin brings. And the reason why we chose it, from a technical point of view, it was one of the few libraries written in the language that we needed to be written, which is in C++, that was modular. It had a server component that we could talk to that was fast. It indexed the blockchain for fast queries, and it also had a client component that could solve a lot of the Bitcoin functionality of transaction signing, hashes, and verification. You name all of that stuff. And Bitcoin Core is just not friendly for that. It's very monolithic, and only recently have they started to take pieces of Bitcoin Core and make this standalone, that standalone. But at the time that we were developing, Live Bitcoin was the only thing that was modular. And then, from an ideological point of view, knowing that Live Bitcoin came from the roots of Dark Wallet, and at its core, the people developing Live Bitcoin wanted to put strong aspects of privacy into the platform. And that's always a question we ask whenever a new piece of functionality goes into Live Bitcoin. So knowing that that's the roots of the team working on it was hugely exciting. But it wasn't easy. Live Bitcoin it was a very nascent project at the time we hopped onto it, and we put many, many man-months of work in making it production caliber. And even to this point, we're really the only company using it on a production caliber basis, and it required a lot of work to get it there. But once again, it was worth it from both an ideological point of view and then also from its modularity technical point of view, but it wasn't easy.
That's really, really interesting. Do we have any other questions here, gentlemen and ladies? Do we have a lady here? No? We have a gentleman right now.
Any plan to support any other cryptocurrencies?
Do you have any plan to support any other cryptocurrencies, Paul?
I think the best answer to that is, do any of the cryptocurrencies need AIRBITZ as a platform? And we believe that all the cryptocurrencies should be supported. Our app, as a wallet, runs on iOS and Android, will likely stay Bitcoin for quite a while. Just because we're a fairly small team, we don't have the resources to contribute to adding other cryptocurrencies. Although we've been approached by quite a few leads of other cryptos wanting to add support, and people are welcome to. It's open source. You guys can go and add support to it if you like. But I think the more important thing is we'll push and support projects that are blockchain technology projects, and supply AIRBITZ as a platform for those projects so that they can secure private keys securely. I think that's the important thing, and try to create an ecosystem around that. So we do believe in other cryptos, but we're going to tackle it more from a platform point of view than our app, because the more we put into it, in a way, the more confusing it becomes. And we want to not restrict, but keep that under wraps.
Awesome. That's totally cool. That's super rad, actually. I've got a question for MK, because she's been sitting there, not so much saying anything. So I've got a question for you, MK, or Megan, if I may. Tell us what your favorite thing is about Bitcoin.
Still on mute.
Oh, are we on mute?
No.
No, she's on mute. That's okay. She knows what she's doing, Kiko. So what is your favorite thing about Bitcoin? And also, if somebody can grab a beer, 2 beers for Lucas and his girlfriend, that'd be great. So MK, what's your favorite thing about Bitcoin?
My favorite thing about Bitcoin is that you can't stop the signal. So, if you're trying to get money or help to someone somewhere far away, there's no banking institution or government that can stop that transaction from taking place. So, I think it has a huge potential there, and it's so cool. I feel like if I have to use a credit card for something, like I'm using this dinosaur technology that's just slow, and I'm typing in something, it's like, why do I have to use this? Just give me a QR code to scan. It's way faster, and yeah, it's like I like to think about living in the future, so it makes me feel like I'm actually living in the future when I'm using it. So those are my 2 favorites. It's hard to narrow it down to one, but yeah.
Yeah, actually, it is very futuristic. It blows my friends' minds that I can send some money from this thing to that thing and a beer pops out. It's really the best. Yes. It's a really great example for teaching people how cool, for lack of a better term, it is. So my other question for you is, how do you, you're obviously a lady, generally in a male-dominated field, how do you feel your female friends are reacting to the technology right now? Because we, us gentlemen, have noticed that it's been a slower uptake for ladies generally. And do you feel your friends are coming around to it, or how do you feel about that part of things?
So I think they're kind of generally interested. I guess I have more guy friends than girlfriends though, so which is so I don't know, my friends who aren't libertarians, I guess, or aren't really into Bitcoin, they're starting to get more curious about it. I think, especially as they kind of hear about it more. But yeah, I mean, people are generally excited. Kind of the more they hear about it, the more they're wanting to learn, and a lot of them are excited. They're like, "Oh, you've got this cool new job. You're moving to San Diego. What's that about?" And so that's kind of like an interesting way to talk about it. It's like, "Oh, it's like this Bitcoin company." They're like, "Oh, because for a long time they were like, oh, you're doing all this Bitcoin stuff, but what are you actually doing?" Like what are you? I was doing like interviews and conferences and stuff like that, and people didn't really get the value of it. But yeah, I've had a few people kind of come around and take a stab at it. It's like, okay, I'll try this Bitcoin thing. But as far as like my female friends and male friends who aren't libertarians, it's been about the same kind of skepticism and caution for now. But they're kind of opening up to it.
There we go. Good. Okay. So that was good. That was me trying to find the mute button. So I'm going to open up the floors. Are there any more questions for our friends in San Diego and Florida, or where are we at, guys?
I have one more kind of quick question. So I was wondering, as a developer, when would I be able to have access to the platform and actually be able to build on top of it?
That's a good question.
So on top of it, it isn't well documented, unfortunately, but developers wanting to tinker and potentially contribute to the platform can use it today. We even have a command line utility that we use here internally at AIRBITZ that allows people to log into a wallet, the same wallet that they created on their phone, and create not a QR code, but you can create an address, receive money, detect that money is received, and actually send money out. So that's a powerful little tool as people tinker and realize that AIRBITZ actually is a platform, that it's not just a mobile app. And we welcome people to do that. At this point, you can build a full production caliber app, just a matter of, once again, its documentation support and the fact that the API is a little bit in flux. It's still changing, so you'll have to kind of bear with the changes as we make them. But it can be used. It's available today. You can go to our GitHub page and download it. You can just ask an API from us and file one to you. And yeah, hammer away at it and let us know what you think. We encourage other people to start tinkering.
That was a good question. I'm going to go back to where I was a few seconds ago with Megan. Megan, what do we have to do to get more ladies shopping with Bitcoin, in your opinion? I'm not trying to be like that. I'm not trying to be like, you know what I mean, like, oh, I can't believe he's asking these questions kind of guy. But I'm just curious, I'm just curious, like, what do you think will bring that around? What will bring that around in your opinion?
I mean, I think those tools already exist as far as how easy it is to shop with Bitcoin through something like Gift. I think it's just a matter of more people knowing that that's an option. So, and just, outreach and education, kind of, what I've been working on for a while now, like just showing them how easy and cool it is to use, and that it can be used to buy so many cool things. And again, the directory is one of my favorite parts about AIRBITZ, because what people always ask me about Bitcoin is, well, what can you use it for? How can you spend it? And yeah, it's easy to show. It's like, oh, well, all these places around you are taking it, locally, or you can go through something like Gift and get all of your shopping done. So yeah, just getting people having people hear about it more. I don't know that. I mean, I think they're the same kind of reasons for skepticism for both genders. I don't know that there needs to be something more specifically done for women to use Bitcoin more, but maybe there is, and I just haven't figured it out.
Okay, cool. I mean, I didn't mean to, like, there is a, like, empirically speaking, there's a bit of a gender gap, and I know you're right. You're probably, like, maybe there is nothing we can do, but I'm thinking of my friends in, like, LA that run a clothing company. Two beautiful girls out of West Van. They run a company called Naven, N-A-V-E-N, out of LA. And how would I get Alexis and Kimberly, you know, accepting Bitcoin at Naven, which is a really nice boutique little dress shop in LA. So it's like, you know, what would I have to do, or what would you have to do to walk in the store and say, guys, ladies, I want you guys to think about accepting Bitcoin, and what would make them, you know, come around to that? Because if you got those two girls accepting Bitcoin, you would have a lot of the LA girls talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like that, and that's a really key. Like those are influencers. They're not influencers like social media people influencers. We're talking about ladies that other ladies listen to because they make the coolest fucking clothes in North America. People look amazing. Girls look amazing when they wear their clothes. So you get those two girls accepting Bitcoin, and you've got a big market in LA. And then of course, if you got the LA market of females talking about it, then of course you got the rest of the world, of People Magazine talking about it basically. So I mean, that's the only reason I asked that question was because, you know, how do we get Kimberly and Alexis, you know, to accept Bitcoin? And I can't do that yet. You know what I mean? I don't have that ability yet, you know, to put that on them.
Well, they're business owners, so whenever I'm talking to a business owner about Bitcoin, I just point out how it helps them avoid things like really, you know, crappy credit card fees and things like that, like how it's cheaper to accept, it's really easy to get started with. I mean, it's free. You download an app and you're pretty much ready to go. And, you know, I think appealing to their business, them as business owners, because, you know, they're trying to save money, they're looking for things that are going to be kind of cool, so I approach it from that angle. And you know, I don't know them, you know, I guess probably as well as you, but yeah, just, you know, using that angle with it. I think sometimes business owners tend to be more risk averse. You know, they're already spending a lot of money on, you know, in this case it would be clothing and other operations. And I think just showing how, you know, it's free for them to start, and it, you know, can save them in credit card fees would be a good place. So.
Yep, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. All right, so I guess if we have no more questions, it's been we got one more.
I got a simple one. Hey, Paul, and it's Pablo from Pizza. I got a simple question. How do you add merchants to your directory, the AIRBITZ one?
How do you add merchants to the directory? Is that the question?
Yeah. How do you do that?
There's a button on our webpage that says Submit a Business, and people are welcome to send the details, and we add them. So it may take a little while because, once again, everything is still fairly manual. A lot of our technology has been focused onto the wallet as opposed to, you know, streamlining the additional removal or modification of business listings. But we do verify every single listing before it goes live, and contact the owner of the listing of the business before, you know, a listing going live, just to make sure that they actually do accept Bitcoin. But other than that, yeah, that's it. Just submit the listings, and most importantly, too, please tell everyone. Submit information if a listing is no longer online. You just send that to info@airbitz.co. Any email address that you know, almost anything at airbitz.co, we'll go ahead and research that business and pull them off. Because that's one of the biggest challenges is, you know, ones that go offline, find the ones that go online isn't as hard.
Cool, awesome. So I think, you know, we've definitely kind of hit most points. I got one more question before we go away, and this because it came from a friend of mine who's a Linux guy, and he works beside me over there, and he's awesome. His name's Taylor. He was very interested in the signing up with an email address. Can you guys just let us know, like, what that's all about, just so, because Taylor wants to know. Don't you need an email address to sign up in the beginning or something like that?
Not with AIRBITZ. No, you can just sign up with a username of your choice and a password of your choice. And actually, one of my favorite functions of the wallet is if you're trying to onboard someone, if you're out there and you want to recommend AIRBITZ to a business or to just anyone, we did this with a Lyft driver very recently. While he was driving, it was really cool. Just skip the password part and just make sure you tell the person, you know, they'll be prompted to create a username, and then they'll be prompted to create and confirm a password and create a PIN. Just tell them to skip the password fields and create a PIN, and boom, they've got an AIRBITZ wallet, and they can later create a password. Encourage them to definitely encourage them to create the password. But if you're in a situation where you want to tip a Lyft driver, for example, in Bitcoin, and they're kind of interested or excited about it, but they don't want to type in their password twice while they're driving, have them skip that and just do the PIN. And then, yeah, they're off and running with a wallet just like that. So if you're out there recommending AIRBITZ and you don't have time enough to even let someone do username and password, you don't have to. I think that's one of the coolest things we've got. It's helped me, you know, with many, many installs. You know, if you get stopped by, you know, sidewalk activists, or if you're in a like a flea market or a farmer's market or anything like that, and you want to just quick get through it, that's the way to do it. And then just encourage them to go to the settings, create that password, create those recovery questions. And again, AIRBITZ is great at making this super easy and quick, fewest taps as possible, and still robustly secure and private. So that's what I recommend for that.
That's super awesome. I just want to say I'm glad you guys are using Lyft. Lyft is a great company. They're really, the pink mustache thing wasn't so great, but I really, compared to their competition, I love where they're coming from. They're doing a really good job. So, and you guys are doing a fabulous job also. I just want to let you know it's nice to have a good-looking frickin' Bitcoin wallet for once. It's really, really nice, and thank you for that. Guys, do we have any more questions before we let these gentlemen and ladies go? Is it? Yeah, we're good? We're good?
We're good.
We're good. Everybody, take a round of applause to the AIRBITZ team.
Can we buy one of you guys a beer? Who wants a beer?
Can you bring the camera over to the Coke machine or something?
We'd love to buy you a beer across the border.
Okay, hold on a sec. We'll do that. Oh wait, hey Alex, do you still have the QR code on your computer, Alex? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Give me like half a second here, and I can put it up.
Alex, send a text message if you can to us, and we will we'll take that picture and buy someone a beer.
You guys are so good. We love that. We freaking love that. That's so good. You guys can send those beers anytime you like, and keep them coming. Our favorite thing are ghost beers. We'll be sitting here someday just working, and the light will go off, and we're like, the fuck? I'm trying to get some work done here. There's a beer coming in, right? It's
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just like Bitcoin beers, not bombs. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Bitcoin beers, yeah.
That's great.
So, Alex, whenever you're ready. Oh, there you go. Is that it?
Yeah, that's the address here.
We're gonna scan this here.
That's nice. Alex, you're the best. Everybody, let's give by the AIRBITZ team and Alex Stirk a round of applause. Thanks, guys. You guys.
Put the camera on Paul here. He's gonna send Bitcoins to Canada to a vending machine that's gonna spit out a beer for the lucky recipient.
Is there a certain amount I gotta send to this address? Oh, it's right there. Is that it right here?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys ready? Oh, there we go. Is it coming? I think was that you?
Wasn't me. Some other generous.
Right now, we got beers coming in.
Yeah.
Bitcoin beers, not bombs.
I don't know. Bitcoin beers, not bombs.
How much for a beer, Freddie?
That's nice. Thank you. You guys are the best. That was
beers.
So yeah,
$3 Canadian.
$6.
Oh, yeah, $3 Canadian.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not in the U.S.
Approximately how many bits?
So what is that in U.S., Alex? Is that like $3.50 now, or $2.50? I mean.
All the way around.
Wait, no. I think it's $10 U.S.
It's $2.28 American to 29 cents American.
So I gotta tell you guys, Alex, I fucking love Alex. So I love all the astrological signs, but my Gemini boys here are killing it. Kiko's a Gemini, Alex is a Gemini, and there was another one. Who's the other Gemini? That one. All three of these dudes are killing it here. And so's Cam.
Oh, is it?
Cam's a Gemini too.
Nice.
All right. So wait, before we go, Paul, what's your birth sign?
I'm a Libra. I like to find the balance between decentralization and ease of use.
Yep, that's good. Your birthday's coming up, so we'll send you a Bitcoin Not Bombs beer soon. And Will, when's your birthday?
December 23rd, so I'm a Sagittarius, Capricorn cusp.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. And Megan, let me try to guess you. Are you a Leo? Okay, what are you?
Close. My birthday just passed. I'm Cancer. So July 4th was the birthday. So
Cool. Very good. Awesome. Well, you guys have a beautiful night. Paul, thank you for the beers. We appreciate that very, very much. Will, thanks for coming out. You know what you're talking about. We love you. And Megan, always a pleasure, and we'll talk with you lots more in the future, we're sure, okay?
I look forward to it.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Bye.
Cheers. All right. Here we go. Good night, everybody.
Night.